Claude Fable 5 just dropped and people are using Anthropic's most powerful AI model to build games, websites, and applications from a singular prompt. Now, I've tested it myself and this is some crazy stuff. By the end of this video, you will see exactly what this thing can do and whether it's worth your attention or if it's just another overly hyped thing. So if you've been hearing the name Claude Fable 5 everywhere and you want to know what it actually is, why everyone's losing their minds over it, and what people can build with it, then this is the only video that you need. Stick around to the part where I build both games live and show you how you can do that as well. Now, starting with the basics very quickly, Claude Fable 5 is Anthropic's newest and most powerful publicly available AI model. It dropped on June 2026 and it's the first model in a brand new tier that they call the Mythos class. It's a whole new level that sits above their Opus model, which were the top tier up until now. Okay, but new models drop all the time. Why is this one different? And for that we've got two reasons, and they are backed by real numbers, not just hype or vibes. First of all, the benchmarks are genuinely absurd. On SweBench Pro, which is a hard test of real software engineering tasks, Fable 5 scores around 80%. For comparison, GPT 5.5, one of the best models currently available, scores about 58% on that same test. That is not a small lead, that is a whole different league. And according to Anthropic's own coding benchmark, the previous best model scored around 13%, whereas Fable 5 scores around 30%. Second, and this is the part that actually matters for what you can build, it can work on long, complex tasks for hours without losing the thread. We're talking about a dozen hours of continuous work on a singular set of instructions. It has a massive memory or token window, and it takes notes on its own work and improves as it goes. An example of this is Claude Fable 5 literally playing a Pokemon game, as you can see, and it just beat it. And what we can see from that is that it has the ability to stay focused on a huge task, which is also the reason that it can build entire games and applications from just one prompt. A researcher named Ethan Mollick, one of the most respected voices in AI testing, used Fable 5 to build several playable games from single prompts. A snake clone, an exploration game set in endless underground tunnels, and even a game based on a famous cycle of poetry. The results shown that it basically beat every other public model that he's tested, and by a wide margin. Someone else built a Pokemon clone with all 151 original creatures with real sprites, stats, evolutions, the whole thing, from one prompt that generated over 8,000 lines of code. Now, it's not just experimental games or toys, people are feeding it entire code bases and having it audit them, mapping the structure, flagging problems by severity, and handing back a prioritized task list. That is pretty much senior developer work from, again, one prompt. Now, I wanted to test it myself and see what the hype is all about, just to see if everything held up before spending serious usage, so I gave it only one prompt. I described a classic arcade game and asked it to make it actually playable. It's a 2D Ninja Runner game with working controls and scoring, physics, mechanics, obstacles, everything that you would see in an actual game. And I only wanted to get something from one prompt. So I pretty much gave it all of the details that I needed, but I left some things out to see how it would fill the gaps. And as you can see, it just planned the whole thing out, wrote the code, set up the controls, scoring, the game over logic, all of that on its own. Now, the thing that blew my mind is that it only took a few minutes. Just one prompt and a few minutes, and I had a game that I can actually start playing right now in my browser. As you can see, the movement is working, the score counting up, hitting a game over. All of these details and specifics are made as if a real team worked on this game. Pretty amazing stuff. But to be honest still, this exact type of game has been a beginner coding project for 30 years. On its own, it's not groundbreaking, and a lot of people who know how to code a little bit can probably make something similar. Most other tools, even ChatGPT, can give you a straight up code from one prompt that can create something similar. And so I realized that the hype will not be justified unless I gave it a bigger project and it came back with something good. So for the second test, I wanted something a lot more complex, a detailed prompt asking for a full first-person FPS aim trainer. I wanted something that competitive players could use to practice their aim or to warm up before their games. This is not a simple task, I'm talking a real 3D first-person shooter with multiple training modes, 6 different weapons with different mechanics, each with their own recoil patterns, moving enemy targets, adaptive difficulty, and a full performance analytics tracking your accuracy and reaction time. This whole thing put together is genuinely a complex piece of software, so let's see if we can actually generate all of that from just one prompt. Now one thing I realized is that before it even wrote any code, it stopped and gave me a full design breakdown. It outlined the game design, the controls, the weapon system, the target system, and so on. It was thinking like an actual game developer, planning the whole architecture before building it. And then it said building it now and went to work. So our aim trainer is now ready. Let me go ahead and launch it real quick. I'm gonna launch it in my browser instead of inside the interactive chat so that we can get the full picture. Alright, so the visuals and the colors look pretty amazing in my opinion. This looks like a legit aim trainer software. It also shows all of the different modes that you can pick from: flick training, reaction time, the strafe challenge, and so on. The controls are displayed on the right side and you can choose from the different weapons. Now this thing, vector range, is what it called, a neon holographic shooting range in true 3D. All 7 training modes worked better than I had expected. Flick training, tracking, target switching, reaction time, the whole set, with 6 distinct weapons. Each one actually felt very different and had a whole new design to it. The targets are holographic dummies with separate headshot zones, and the difficulty adapted to how well I was shooting in real time. And when the run ends, it gives me a full performance report and a grade, from S to D. It broke down my flicking, tracking, recoil, and reaction as separate skill bars. Not to mention that it actually saves all of my performances so that it can track it for the long term. It even told me which drill to run next to improve. From one prompt, it generated all of that and more. The 3D engine, the weapons, the enemies, and the difficulty system, the analytics, and even the sound effects, all of it is actually insane, and all of it is generated in a single file I could just open and play. Put that in perspective, what I got in one prompt for the cost of some usage credits is something that would have taken a solo developer weeks or maybe months to build by hand. Even if you use a dedicated tool for building or coding, it would have never given you back this quality of a design from just one prompt. You would probably waste half your credits just going into it, altering and fixing all of the bugs that come along the way. And now all of this and more is possible thanks to Fable 5. Now it's not just games are the flashy demo, but the most useful thing day to day is what it does with websites and landing pages. I had it build a professional, award-winning landing page from a single prompt, and it came back looking genuinely professional. This is not generic template or AI slop, this is actually insane. And of course, I'm not alone in this. Designers testing Fable 5 are calling it the best one-shot interface generation they have ever seen from an AI. If you've ever wanted a website or a landing page but didn't want to learn code or go and spend hundreds of dollars worth of credits in other software, this is the part of Fable 5 that's immediately practically useful today. And you can get access to it if you have a Claude subscription right now, whether it's the normal one, so Claude Plus, or the maximum one. You will get your Fable 5 access directly in the models that are shown up until the 22nd of June. Now the catch in this is that Fable 5 is extremely powerful, but it's not cheap to run on big tasks. As you can see, each request would take double what Opus would take in normal usage. And once you go over your plan's limit, you would have to continue with adding credits, or you just directly connect a credit card or something and start spending as you go. Some people have spent $30, $40, or even $50 a day iterating on a single complex project. So right now it's included for free on the Pro, Max, and the team plans, but only until June 22nd. On June 23rd, it will switch to pay-per-use credits. So the window to test the most powerful public AI model available at the moment without extra cost is closing fast. So that will be all on today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have found it to be helpful or informative to watch, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any follow-up content that we make just like this one.